We're gonna do some bottle flips today. Why? Just get some skills to work here. That's never wrong, right? Let's get started on this new episode of Homework Workouts. Alright, so let's get started on the warm-up for this session on Sunday. We're gonna have 4 different movements for you guys, 3 serious important warm-up movements and 1 skill practice movement. That might be one of the best things that you can do now we're in a partial lockdown. Now, let's have a look at the movements by looking at Fred and Cecily, who will demo everything for us today. When you're at home and you want to try everything out right away, join us even when we're practicing. Let's have a look at the first one. I want you guys to squeeze your feet together. Remember this, we're going to have big toe, little toe and heel always pressed into the floor. Now we're going to make a knee bend as far as possible forward. We're going to drive our hands on top of our knees. We're going to make circles in just one direction. We're going to do that 5 times. After the 5th rep, you're going to simply make the rotations towards the other direction. Very simple. So we call this ankle circles, right? So this is a very good movement to warm up the ankles and get them a little warmed up and flexible for whatever we're going to do later in today's session. Now, our second movement is just a classic bodyweight squat, which doesn't mean just a couple of squats. It means you're going to make some perfect squats here. So let's have a look at Fred and Cecily demoing some nice and perfect squats. While they're going through their reps, I'll just give you my simple 4 pointers that I always give you. Pointer number 1 was big toe, little toe, heel, always pressed into the floor. Point number 2 was knees are always tracking the toes. Number 3 is we're going to sit our heels, we're going to sit our butt on top of our heels. And point number 4 is we're going to keep the chest up high and only the hips drop. Alright, those are the squats here. Now let's say that Cecily has a knee injury. She still wants to do this session, which is totally possible. But she cannot do all the squatting, which is also going to be important in the workout later on. I'm going to make her do a glute bridge here. Heels pressed into the floor, toes slightly off the floor, slight knee bend, drive the hips into the ceiling, slowly come back down. Now while you're doing this, I want you to focus on folding your hip around your belly button so you fight the urge to arch. Here we go, beautiful glute bridges. You just do 5 of these, but on the top of each rep, you add a 2 to 3 second pause to get good action in the glutes, which should be very important. Now, our third movement is what? It is called the band pull apart. Again, yes, because it's such a good upper back and rear delt warm up. So let's throw it in as well here. You're gonna have the band, you're gonna extend the arms forward. Now, the more narrow the grip is with band tension, the harder it's going to be, right? Now from there, the concept is simple. You're going to pull the band apart while keeping the arms in line with the shoulder. And I want you to remain tension on the band while coming back in and going back out. So try to remain tension and keep that rhythm going. 10 hard, squeezy reps here. Solid. I'm not really cared about the range of motion that you make. I'm cared about you keeping tension throughout the set during the band pull apart. Now I believe we should not have to give you guys injury options for pull-aparts because you can always make them lighter by just grabbing one part of the band instead of the double part of the band. And they're very good to do for shoulder health as well. Now let's have a look at our very important 4th movement that is skill practice for the day, which is the bottle flip. And we're aiming to do a perfect bottle flip. So what do you do with the bottle flip? You make sure you have some water in the bottle. You can play around with that. You're going to sit down, you're going to have your perfect flow going on, you're going to focus, and you both can start off here by throwing the bottle and trying to land it. Oh, that's terrible. Trying to land it with the bottom of the bottle hitting the floor and almost standing up right away. Get one more shot in here. That was just practicing the warm-up. Now in a second we're going to actually do the entire warm-up. So it is time to get off the couch and actually join us in doing this warm-up. It is a short round, but we'll do 5 rounds in total. Don't go too fast, and also have some fun with doing the bottle flips here. So Fred and Cecily are going to join you guys. We're going to start off with doing the ankle circles in 3, 2, 1, and go. 5 reps, just moving in one direction. Going for that big range of motion while sticking your heels on the floor. And then also 5 reps in the opposite direction. Again, sticking your heels on the floor. Moving to 5 squats right after. Nice, slow, controlled, deep squat. They both have perfect squatting mechanics here. Knees are tracking the toes, feet are pressed into the floor, anchored properly, heels go down, hips go down, chest stays up nice and high. Then they move on to pull apart for not a quick set, but just a good set of 10. And they're gonna focus on remaining tension on that band, really having the wrists at shoulder height the entire time, and focusing on squeezing their rear delts backwards and into each other. That is good with 10 reps of the pull apart. And then upon completion of the pull apart, they're gonna stay extremely focused and gonna try to do a perfect bottle flip with only 3 attempts. After the 3rd attempt, whether you hit it or miss it, you need to move on to your ankle circles. So what I'd love you guys to do is, first of all, continue on the warm-up by doing 4 more rounds, and please videotape your bottle flips if you got a good one in there, post it online and tag us in there. Continue and press pause. So our second portion of the day is going to be some mobility work. And we're going to have 2 different stretches spread out over 3 intervals, because we're going to have a left and a right side. So you need your smartwatch app. You want to set it at a Tabata timer. That's easy to manage. You're going to do 45-second intervals, 20 seconds of rest, and then 6 in total. We're going to actually start with you guys right away. We're going to take some time to set the first stretch up properly. So I need you guys to now get off the couch and join us right from the get-go. Okay, so I'm going to have Fred and Cecily here, starting with their left leg forward and right leg back. Now in that starting position, you leave the arms for a second, we'll do that later. First of all, statically looking at the lower body, I need the back knee to be below or right behind the hip, never in front. And I need the front knee to be on top of the ankle. You need to lean and sit forward a bit here, that's very important, so you can get a good stretch on the back hip flexor. And we're going to fold the hands, reach the arms overhead, press them to the ceiling. And we're going to start our first interval in 3, 2, 1, set. So 45-second Samson stretch. So what you're aiming to do is this. You're actively pressing your lower body forward while driving your hands up to the ceiling and reaching up and back with the upper body. By pressing your hands up and reaching backwards. So you're actually opening up your thoracic spine, which is your upper back muscles as well there. You're stretching these at the same time while you're stretching the hip flexors, and we're going to help you in the squatting and lunging mechanics that we'll need later. You got 20 more seconds in this stretch, and then once you hear me to tell you to rest, we're going to switch sides, for which you have 20 seconds in total. 10 more seconds, guys, hold on, keep actively pressing upwards. And 3, 2, 1, and switch. You have 20 seconds to switch. They'll switch right away so you guys can see. Again, back knee behind the hip, front knee on top of the ankle, folded hands, reached overhead, pressed up and back. 10 more seconds and then we start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Started. 45 seconds actively working this position. And this is where we insert the flute. $30 seconds. Seconds. All right, 10 more seconds, and then we stand up. 3, 2, 1. Now let's stand up at home as well. Get your feet stuck together, get your legs locked, fold your hands behind the back. We're going to start already by hinging from the hip. Boom. Reach up with the arms and pull them forward as far as you can. You hold that for 3, 2, 1, and you stand back up, and then you do it again. And you actively work your way down with the hands for 3, 2, 1, and you come back up. So this is the dynamic variation of the flexi swimmer. Normally the flexi swimmer is a passive hold in the end position. We now dynamically work our way through to try to increase the range of motion that we can get in that end position here. 25 more seconds. So you see a big difference in flexibility here of the upper portion of the body with Fred and Cecily, which is all good as long as they're both working equally as hard. They're both putting in their effort to increase their mobility or to get warmed up properly for the workout. You guys got 10 more seconds before we switch back to our second round. 3, 2, 1, and rest. Alright, good. So that was one round of the mobility work. I need you guys to do 2 more rounds, but if you have the time, you can always throw in a third one to get nice and flexible for this workout and for the rest of your life. Continue and press pause. Alright, so for the workout of today, you're going to need a set of bottles again. Now, I don't recommend you to go for the heaviest bottles you have, but take approximately 2 liters if you have those, which will give you an insane pump. A round of today's workout, and it's a 1200 AMRAP, has a total of 120 reps. It's a lot of volume, but it's going to be a very fun one to do. Look at my face. A fun one to do. Yeah. Let's have a look at all 4 movements and also scaling options and injury options. Obviously, you're ready to try them out with us, and then we start to work out together right after. Let's have a look here at Fred and Cecily. We're going to do double bottle Russian twist by having what? First of all, we're going to have the bottles squeezed together. We're going to have the elbows tucked into the side, and Fred's going to have his legs off the floor, and Cecily on the floor. Now, instead of moving the bottles, we're going to try to twist from the torso, sideways, boom. And that's how we make reps. Can you guys get the pace up just a tiny bit? Here we go. So the idea is very simple, guys. I'm not interested in how the bottles move. I'm interested in the elbow staying in position, close to the torso, and then twisting from the torso. I love these Russian twists when they're done properly. Every movement you do is a rep. So it's 1, 2, 3, etc. Let's rest here. So in scaling options, right? Scaling options, Fred had his heels off the floor. Let's call that RX. And Cecily had her heels on the floor. Let's call that scaled for this workout. Now the second movement right after we've done all the oblique work, is some ab work, which will be going into a hollow body position and then pressing the bottles from the chest to overhead. Not to overhead, to perpendicular to the floor. That's what it's going to be. So a chest press in hollow. So we start in a hollow body, lower back into the floor, shoulders off the floor, and we're going to press the bottles right up, and we bring them back down. And bring them right up, and we bring them down. Try to avoid touching the bottles, just get straight line here. That is very good. And if you see, Cecily has her legs tucked, which is slightly easier, and Fred is finding the positions in the hollow body, which I think is perfect. Good. These are the presses in hollow. You saw the RX version of Fred staying in that true banana shape while doing the pressing movement, going nice and deep with the elbow touching the floor, pressing right back up while maintaining shoulder blades off the floor. Cecily did exactly the same, but she just had her legs tucked. Right, good. Now our third movement, this is where it gets very spicy, specifically with the rep range, is going to be a lunge, a forward stepping lunge, alternating reps with the legs, 30 steps in total, with the bottles both being held overhead. Let's have a look at a couple of reps here. So, overhead, and from there, we lunge, we step back in, we lunge, we step back in. There we go. So you want to focus on locking out the elbows firmly, keeping the shoulders nice and active, so they're carrying the weight properly, they're stacked, and then you just lunge. Cecily has her knees protected by having a soft object underneath, which at home can be anything that you have. You can do a pillow on the floor or something soft. Alright, good demo, guys. Let's rest for a second. Now, we do need to show you some injury options that we have. Now, first of all, let's say that it's too heavy for you to keep those bottles overhead the entire time. I then want you to hold the bottles in your front rack position, so we're still loaded a tiny bit. Let's have a look at that first. So loaded on the front rack, doing those alternating lunge steps. Here we go. Good. Now let's still take a look at Cecily. Let's put one bottle down. Let's assume that she cannot do the lunge because of an injury in the knee. In that case, we're going to widen the stance. We're going to have one bottle overhead. We're going to touch her on the leg, which is weird though. And we're going to slide down. We're going to look at that thing, and we have a windmill. Instead of alternating the windmill, you will do 15 reps on one side, and then you'll do 15 reps on the other side. Thank you, Cecily. Fred, come back in. Our fourth and final movement is going to be the rear delt raise with the bottles, for a big set of 30. So we're going to have slide knee bend, we're going to hinge from the hip, arms go straight down to the floor, big half circle, and we're going to make rear delt raises. The tempo can be pretty firm here. Just make sure the bottles don't touch in the middle because you might break the bottles. Nice long arms here, beautifully done. Alright, those are the 4 movements that we will use in today's workout. So if you just practice the movement with us, you got a feeling for them. If you just looked at them, then it's time to still get into the action right now. We're gonna do the actual workout. It is a 12-minute AMRAP of the 4 movements we just showed you. Each of them 30 repetitions. It's gonna be a long round. It's gonna be a grueling workout, and we're still trying to achieve a good pump and some conditioning work in there as well. All right, so let's get started. I'm gonna have my smartwatch app ready. It's set as a 12-minute AMRAP. I'm gonna have Fred and Cecily ready here with the bottles. Let's all tune in for this one, and let's get started. Okay, you guys are ready. We're gonna start in 3, in 2, in 1, and let's go. So all the bottle movements, guys, except for the lunges, are done at a quick pace. I need fast movement today, okay? I'd rather have you to rest in between the movements a tiny bit than to move slow to move perfect. It is just a light bottle, so squeeze your legs together in the Russian twist and move it like you mean it. Keep the elbows tucked into the body and get those twists going. After 30, you immediately move into the hollow body, and you're going to start with the presses. Now Cecily has the scaled option. I know Fred's having a very hard time with the hollow here, so I want Fred to pull in a knee here. And if he then feels that the lower back is still coming off the floor, I also want him to pull in the other knee. Let's pull in the other knee as well, Fred. Here we go. You can always scale down this hollow. As long as the lower back stays in the floor, we should all be good here, right? You aim for range of motion, 30 reps of the chest press while being in the hollow. Try to pull your shoulder blades off the floor, make it nice and heavy, let the abs do the work as well. After 30, another grueling portion starts. We're gonna set those bottles overhead. We're gonna lock them firmly. We're gonna start with a set of 30 alternating overhead lunge steps. Now this will probably take a while because the lunge step is not a very fast movement. So you're probably lunging for a good 45 to 60 seconds while holding the bottles overhead. Cecily's protecting her knees with a soft object placed right underneath. I want you guys to do that as well if you feel the necessity to do so. Even when it's a light bottle, I still want you to aim for extending the arms firmly and securing the shoulders properly because you have an object over your head. Here we go. This is good. This is good. So try to keep them a bit closer together, those bottles. It helps in the lockout overhead. I know this is the worst thing to do in today's workout is those overhead lunge set of 30 reps, but you want to aim to do it unbroken because it is the most intense thing which you have to do each round. So we're about 2 minutes in right now, and we have 1 movement left, which is the rear delt raise. Here we go. Especially shaking out the shoulders, which is a good thing to do if you feel that's getting too heavy. And the rear delt raise, Freddy, is the last movement that we have. Quick set of 30. Here we go. This is a beautiful workout, guys. Hinge, slide knee bend, get a very big range with the arms, and really squeeze in those shoulder blades in the end position as well. There we go. Long arm to the magic, palms facing inwards and palms facing down in the end position. We're now 2.5 minutes in, and they're also aiming to do this unbroken. Although it's a light bottle, I know they're experiencing a big burn in the shoulders right now. And not just from the rear delt raises, but also from just holding the bottles overhead in the previous movement for 30 lunge steps. Here we go. Boom. Freddy has completed the round in approximately 3 minutes. And Cecily also completed the round in approximately 3 minutes. I think that if they can keep up with the pace, they might get close to finishing 4 rounds. Let's see if you can finish 4 rounds. I need you guys to continue and press pause.